Welcome, everybody,
Okay.
to this Talk to the Entities taster free event on receiving from the earth. Which, yes, receiving from the earth, how does it get any better than that? I have no idea.
Receiving from the land.
What'd you say? Receiving from the land. I
Receiving from the land.
always get something wrong. I love that about me. Yay. Receiving from the land. So I have no idea where we'll go today, but please feel free to ask your questions. You can raise your hand on the Zoom. You can put it in the chat and we'll see on there too. But we have people that I definitely know have been in a Talk to the Entities class before, and some brand new people. We have almost 300 people from all over the planet on this, all over the land. So I wonder what we can create with this, and how does it get any better? Monica, how are you doing over there with your internets? I will take that as maybe she'll be back in a bit. Hopefully it will work. So as you all know, Talk to the Entities is a specialty class of access consciousness. I like the laughy faces. And it was created by Shannon O'Hara. She has an amazing book called Talk to the Entities, and also The Beings of Light. You can check those out at talktotheentities.com for more Talk to the Entities stuff. And Monica Gilliam and myself, Alison Cox, are both Talk to the Entities certified facilitators, which has been such a gift and has really allowed myself and Monica, and I know a lot of you, to open up to this weird, undefined world of talking, communicating, receiving from entities, from the land, allowing you to shift and change things that you didn't think were possible. And, you know, one of my targets for this call is to really open up a door and a space for even more ease and different possibilities of future, so that anytime that you find yourself going into conclusion or thinking that there's a problem, especially with the land or in your life, you know, everything's connected, that you actually allow yourself to be a space that's going to, you know, not fix the problem, but acknowledge that it's maybe perhaps not a problem, and that you have the capacity to allow, like, literally you are the one that will be the one to ask a question that will allow a different possibility to show up. And in regards to receiving from the land, there are so many energies and entities and things that have been disregarded. You know, men came, and, you know, there's been a lot of technical stuff and building and greed and money involvement, and who's going to have the most power over, you know, and power over often goes into like demon things, and just all kinds, and techie entities and techie people and bodies and all kinds of stuff. And we won't go too far down the rabbit hole with that, but we will give you a lot of tools to, whether you believe in something, don't believe in something, whether you think you have any capacity to change something or you don't think you do. Today, we're going to give you some tools to play with, keyword play, that will allow you to shift and change all kinds of things. And speaking of play, so there are these entities that, first of all, an entity. What's an entity? An entity is just anything, any energy that can be defined. So when you think of entities, what do you think of? Do you think of ghosts? Do you think of, you know, poltergeist? I watched lots of horror movies as a kid, so my definition of entities and ghosts was a lot of that at the beginning. Do you think of, you know, like a business, an entity? Or do you think, what do you think of? And the more you get rid of your definition of what these entities and energies are, the greater awareness you're going to have with who and what is speaking with you and would like to contribute to you, and who and what you can contribute to. One of the things, also my brain is all over the place, so I like to say, if I don't
Can,
finish a
can
sentence,
I jump in really
yes.
quick? Okay, just
Oh, Monica, yes. I'm like,
because I'm jumping in and out. I'm jumping in and out because I'm having some internet instability, and I'm just wondering if we could just really quickly, even though it's jumping ahead, do some entity clearings.
sure. So yes, we'll do entity clearings for Miss Monica's internet. So the the entities, just by the nature of what they are, will mess with your electronics. They're not good, they're not bad, but when you have a capacity with entities, especially if you're Monica and you have this huge capacity with spirits of the land and the earth and nature spirits, how excited are they that she's doing this call? And so even entities that have your back, when they're around your electronics, that can frazzle the structure of how computers work, how technology works. So a few things you can do if you're having technical problems. Literally, if you work on the back end of Talk to the Entities, like Kushbu Shaw in my living room, they have to clear entities all the time just to get the Talk to the Entities website to work properly. And then it still doesn't half the time. So, they're constantly clearing entities, and they're also asking the entities to back up. So all the entities that you guys are aware of, let's ask all of those entities that would still like to be here and contribute to, they're more than welcome to be here and be present, but let's ask them to back up at least 100, 1,000 feet or miles, wherever will give the computers and the internet the most space. Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. That is the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement. You can go to theclearingstatement.com for more of that. Use it often. It works for everything. And all the entities that came onto this call and that you guys all have the capacity to shift, clear, and communicate with. Let's tap into all of those guys and let's ask all of the entities, truth, who are all of you? Truth, who were all of you before that? 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 And truth, who will all of you be in the future? Truth, what are all of you? Truth, what were all of you before that? Truth, what were all of you before that? Truth, what were all of you before that? And before that, and before that, and before that? And what will you all be in the future? And truth, what are all of your jobs? What were you told all of your jobs were? What have you decided all of your jobs were? What have you been implanted and explanted to believe that your job was, that you have to do no matter what till death? And all your duties to be that job, and that don't allow you all to acknowledge whether it's working for you or not, whether it's relevant for you or not. Will you destroy and uncreate it all times a godzillion? Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. Wow. Okay. And truth, what were all of your jobs before that? Holy crap. What were all of your jobs before that? 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 And what will all of your jobs be in the future? Everything that is, all the magnetic imprinting, all the electromagnetic imprinting, all of the personalities you guys are all using to lock those jobs in place and those identities in place, will you destroy and uncreate it all times a godzillion? Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. And I see him.
Hey, thank you. I'm here. I'm here for the second. Let's
Yay!
see how does it get any better than that. Cool. Thank you for just like jumping right in with that. I know sometimes in these stages we like to give a little more of an introduction, but like just hit the road running and use these tools. And you know, and you just see what this creates for you, and you can play with those clearings whenever you hit it too. And then definitely in talk classes, we go into that even more. And so everybody's definitely invited. And it's one of the moments that I was online, I heard you saying like, you know, all of the entities that have come that are really excited, you know, to be a part of this conversation. Like, what if we were all to acknowledge how each of us choosing to be here across the entire planet is such a gift. This conversation has many people with bodies and many other entities and beings without bodies the way that we're familiar with. And like, what a cool conversation that we get to be part of. And like all of that enthusiasm for actually being able to reach out and be present with each other, like what is possible for us to explore with that willingness to be aware and to be present beyond what we've decided is possible. Like that you can talk to somebody across the planet and you don't just need Zoom, but you can actually be aware and present with all of these different energies and entities and what have you. And how cool. So like, what can we explore today?
Yes, I'm really impressed with how well that worked. Also,
Yeah, me too. Because I didn't hear what you were, because I was in and out. What would we like to explore today as we are playing with receiving from the land?
one of the cool things that just kind of popped up when even, when we were clearing things, and it kind of popped up yesterday too, and excuse me, I saw, what is the jobs thing? Like, what jobs have been given, were given, what jobs are being asked of, what jobs can you give of the land or the plants or the animals and of yourself? Because it just kind of got me thinking about, I think you had sent me a reel on Instagram, or I happened to see it, about a lady who gave a job. Well, she was an animal communicator, and a plant communicator, and she was given a job to go work on these trees. And the owner, she couldn't quite tap into the land in that, around that house. She realized that the trees were blocking her because the owner had unknowingly given them a job to protect her. So they were keeping out all energies from her house. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. Interesting. And then I thought about I have a massage studio here too. And for some reason, these plants, I have this room that's the plant room, and I do not take good care of them as you should be, like technically. Like when I water them, I water them. When they yell at me, to water them, yay. And then other people take care of them too. But they are flourishing. And I know that a long time ago, I gave them a job to work on people's bodies when they're in that room. And they love that job. I'm like, wow. And there's more and more. Like, I have to constantly be clipping off little baby plants and all these things and just putting them in cups of water. And like parts of trees will, a 2-year-old knocked this tree over and half the tree fell off, and it put it into a glass of water. I'm like, there's no way it's going to grow roots. I'm like, we'll just see. Left it, came back like 2 weeks later, and this tree has all these roots. I'm like, in a glass of water. I'm like, wow, you guys really love this job. And all the energies and entities and spirits of the land are existing and contributing based on, this is also a definition, but based on the job that they love doing in that room. And they're not necessarily planted in the land. So do you have anything to say about that, Miss Monica? or a sense of,
Yes, yes. I do. I have so much to say, actually. It's so cool that you brought that up. And all I just want to say that one motivation for us meeting this call is that, we're going to Dubai at the beginning of August to talk to the entities classes, and Dr. Bean here going to Dubai in just a couple of weeks. We were kind of like, oh, what can we be receiving from the land? What can we be creating with the land?
Monica, can you put
Like,
the video off? Like, I think that would make so we can hear you.
yeah,
the audio
got
thing.
it. So is that any better?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, great. Okay, so let's see. So it's great. I just watch Alison's face, and when her eyes go like, huh? Then I know that my voice is being weird. So anyway, Allison and I are going to Dubai at the beginning of August for talk to the entities class. And then Dr. Day here is going to Dubai in a couple of weeks. And we were like, oh, okay, why Dubai? Like what is Dubai asking for, and what can Dubai contribute, and what can we receive? And so that kind of was part of the motivation for, receiving from the land and including all of the beings that are there when we go to create in a particular place on the planet. And with what you're talking about, what I love so much about talking to plants, talking to the earth, is that the earth, the land, the plant, they don't do separation. There's a sense of contribution that is so, I'm not sure if I'm still able to be heard or not.
You are,
I hope so. Okay. 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 Thank you. So there's this this like unlimited contribution, like gifting and receiving. And so
Oh, you're breaking up a little bit. What was the? Oh, you're breaking up.
There's unlimited. Oh, all right. So that game. Wow.
Choppy.
I know there was a storm here, and the storm has taken power and away from everybody. And but it hadn't for me. So
It's pretty bad.
Am I okay? Should I keep going?
Okay. When you that I heard clearly, but we didn't quite get like the last minute.
Okay. Guys, I'm so sorry.
I wonder if you can call in with your phone. I have no idea.
I just did.
What else is possible? But maybe write in things in the messenger. I will be your yeah, phone call is probably better. Anyway, I don't know. I couldn't say where Monica is actually going with the thing, but I loved what she was saying, and we will find out when she writes in. But talking about Dubai, like what is the land asking for in Dubai? And parts of the land will pop around the world. And you'll, when you think about going on vacation or taking a class, or, you really wish you want to move somewhere else because you don't like where you're living right now. Number one, you want to pock and pot all of your decisions, that clearing statement thing, destroy and uncreate all of your decisions, judgments, conclusions about the land. Who does it belong to? When there's a part of the clearing statement called POVADs, point of view of all of everything that you're avoiding and defending. And you have these POVADs, points of view that you're avoiding and defending, with land from different lifetimes. And so anytime you decide you love a place, anytime you decide you hate a place, you're creating these POVADs that are creating the separation. One of the things that creates the separation that Monica was talking about. You're creating separation from this whole oneness thing that you could be choosing to be a part of. When you choose to be a part of the thing that you be anyway, which is oneness, it allows you to receive from the land, from everything and everyone, the good, the bad, the ugly, simultaneously gifting and being for and with everyone and everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly. If you judge anything as, yes,
I called in on my phone. Is that any better?
so much better.
You guys.
Old school Gary Douglas style.
Oh, no, I was like, when somebody said call in on your phone, I was like, what are you talking about? Oh my God, that thing.
You know, the old telephone.
Wow. I'm so sorry to be interrupting and in and out. I'm really grateful to find all of these ways to work around. And I was listening to you just a moment. Is it okay if I cut in?
Yes, always.
Okay. So one thing that I was going to say before is that, so I go into people's homes and I'll talk to their plants, and their plants kind of tell me the secrets that are going on with the people, or basically they just like show the energy of what's going on there. And then also I'm given a lot of plants that are like the hospice plants, the plants that are dying. And honestly, the biggest thing that I have noticed is that plants don't do well when they are trying to heal people and the people won't receive it. And so what you were saying before about the plants in your massage practice in that room that were like given the job of healing these bodies, like what a gift it is to actually have anybody acknowledge what a contribution energetically, physically, and otherwise the plants can be. And that like when you receive, just like for all of us, when we're actually received for the gift that we are, how much that contributes to us flourishing. And so with that, you know, like the giving of the jobs, it's more like also just acknowledging the contribution that something is being in your world, which is a big part of this whole conversation. And in a way, like what you were just saying about the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
When I say contribution, it's like, it's not just the good contribution. It's like what contribution is everything in your world. And then when you acknowledge what that is, then you can make different choices. So the contribution may be like if you're an alcoholic, alcohol may be contributing to you like having total problems with your life and body, you know, but it is still adding to that fire. It is contributing, you know, and when you allow yourself to really be present with everything that is a part of the universe, that everything that is around you, nurturing you in all sorts of different ways, then you can like kind of make choices to really receive and say thank you, and then make different choices, you know, like I know just for whatever reason to go on this little alcoholism track, you know, like there are definitely people who when they are, you know, who the kind of term of like hitting rock bottom, where they get to a point where it's things are bad enough or painful enough that they would like to make a different choice. And so in a way, you could say that like all of the alcohol, all of the maybe entities, alcohol entities, everything like that has been kind of driving them to a space where they can make a different choice, or has been contributing to their making a different choice. And I have no idea why that
I love
particular
that.
image came up.
It's so funny. In the last Toxic Entities class that I did in Canada, someone was like really kind of judging themselves about the alcohol that they were drinking and, you know, maybe being an alcoholic. And I was like, huh, you know, one tool you can always use is like, what if I flipped this point of view? Because I was like, well, let me think about my life for a second, looking to see how I could facilitate this person and what is right about this. They're not getting what's right about this. I'm not getting. And I was like, okay, alcohol, what contribution were you to my life? And I was like, holy crap, you like saved my life. It may have not looked like it because growing up, you know, I was so aware of entities. And when I found alcohol, I was like, this is fun. It's like all of my inhibitions went away, all of my awareness, you know, it calmed that. We didn't have these tools of personalities and pock and pod and things like that. I didn't. And so, you know, I went to alcohol and it was such a relief and it was so fun. And so I basically like up until well into my 30s, like last year, just kidding, into my 30s, I was drinking a lot of alcohol and it worked for me. I thought, you know, my mom's like, do you have a problem? I'm like, no, I'm obviously fine. You know, but I was drinking a lot of alcohol, doing things that I could do so that I could include alcohol and poverty and also traveling the world somehow all at the same time. And then one day, a few years ago, I was like, well, I don't really feel like drinking anymore. Like, who knows what it is? I get that I have, because of all of the pock and potting, clearing entities, asking for more awareness and asking for ease, joy, and glory with my awareness of the good, the bad, and the ugly, not just everything sucks. Um, you know, I've gotten to this space where I don't need the alcohol anymore to be and to be on this planet with the land, but also with this reality. I have so much more of a sense of ease. And so now the alcohol is like just, it's good. It tastes good to have a glass of wine sometimes and whatever, but I didn't even have to suffer enough, which I do get that part too, but also, you know, I was judging myself for, or others were judging me a lot for doing that. And I was like, you know what? Now that I think about it, what a contribution that alcohol was to my life so that I could survive until then. So that's the flip side of it. I just like that you brought that up because that came up in the last class.
Well, I mean, it's so cool because it's like the thing is that when we talk about like consciousness and oneness, it includes everything and everyone and judges nothing and no one.
Mhm.
And there's this sense of like, if you're asking to be more aware, you will be aware of even the things that you've decided are bad, or the things that you've decided you can't receive. They're too magnificent, or, you know, out of your price range, or, you know, it like blows the lid off all of the structures and ways that you have categorized the universe and yourself as you ask to be more and more aware. And that at first can be a little bit uncomfortable. It's like all of our alarm systems go off of, you know, beep, 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 it's too much, you know, but it's really when you have to maintain a certain, almost like contracted sphere of existence, that the idea of too much can even be real to you. If you just allow yourself to say like, no, you know what? I will just be aware of this. It doesn't mean I have to do anything. But as I have more awareness, I begin to have more choices. I can see more pathways than I might have been able to see when I was just deciding, you know, I can only do what's good. And what's good was passed on to me by my parents or my school or my culture, you know. And but when you allow yourself to kind of expand out of that, then you can have these things that seem really almost like illogical, that like you could receive from something like alcohol, you know, that you could actually grow from engaging with something that somebody else might say you shouldn't engage with that. But like as you allow yourself to
Sounds
really
like my
kind of
dating life. Sorry, go ahead.
right. But like as you allow yourself to really expand your perspective, then the things that might have seemed like big scary no-nos become more like, oh, that's simply a choice that I have that's available. It's not the only choice. And now I'm aware of more possibilities. And I've been, you know, in Access recently, we've been talking a lot about personalities and, you know, the kind of all of the points of view that you have about defining who you are. Like, I'm female and I am American and I have long brown hair, and like even these kind of silly things that like put me in a particular relationship to people and the world around me. You know, like people see me as a small, physically small female, and they may choose to interact with me based on that in a particular way. But as I expand out, you know, when I am talking to a tree, the tree isn't like, okay, cool, so you're a lady, you're a small female person, so I'm only going to interact with you like this or like that, you know. That's not the case. And so we have the freedom and the permission to let go of some of these definitions that we've been using to create our personalities and take a larger perspective. And as you do that, you can begin to see what's around you in a different way, to kind of, it's almost like inviting more into the conversation that you're having, taking your blinders off. And as you invite more into the conversation, then you can choose different ways of engaging, you know, like engaging with the land. If you are just super focused on, you know, your pains and sufferings, you may not even think to go like, hey, Earth, how are you doing today?
So you mean we make like things we can feel and things that like, you know, raise our dopamine and problems and drama and trauma more interesting and real than just receiving from the land or from like oneness?
I like to call it drama porn. It's like
Right.
what people have become so obsessed by, and it like reinforced, you know, that this is the thing to put your attention on. The like the sky is falling kind of, oh no, the doomsday conversations. And it's like, if we can just relax and know that those doomsday conversations are going on all over the place, it doesn't even have to be significant. We don't have to freak out about it. We can just be like, oh, okay, there's a lot of energy and attention that's put on this sense of separation. Like, I just love how many people signed up for this call, and how they're all over the planet. And, you know, if we were to just be like locked into our sense of, I'm from this country and this country's customs are at war with another country, or have decided that these other customs are wrong, then that can create even more separation and just not allow us to be present with each other. And with, it's so funny how there are boundaries on the earth, but those are totally made up, and rather than having this sense of separation, it's like, what if we really allowed ourselves to just relax and drop as much of those definitions as possible, and then say, okay, what is available for me to play with? What is here? What's going on with the land where I am? What's going on with the people where I am? And you don't have to do anything, but you just get to kind of first hear what is being sung all around you, and then where would you like to add your voice?
That's awesome. I love that. And speaking of everyone being all over the planet and all having capacities to tap into entities, why don't we all really quick, and then Hope we'll get to your question. For those of you that would like, and all the entities that would like change and are willing to, you can't make anybody change, including entities, including impacted and impelled points of view in the land around you. So for all of you that are willing, and all the entities that are capable of tapping into that would like to change, all of the personalities that you're all using that allow what did you call it, Monica? Drama porn?
Yes.
Drama porn to exist as the most relevant, significant reality for you and real and true for you. Will you destroy and uncreate it all times a godzillion? Right and wrong,
Yes.
bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds, and all of the impelled and impacted points of view, personalities, judgments, separations, all of that, impelled and impacted into the land around you. Will you destroy and uncreate all of that times a godzillion? The land includes the building, etc. Right and wrong, good and bad, and pock, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. Hope, what's your question? Yeah.
Well, okay, so I am so funny because I will forget that entities are a thing. And then after Monica invited me to this the other day, I was like, oh, fuck, that's right. They're everywhere and they're always asking to contribute to us. And I, and I live in Los Angeles, which I know is a part of the world that has had a lot projected onto it. And when you said the thing earlier about you're like, you guys will look at where to go and you'll ask to clear the projections and expectations. And I hadn't really heard that before. Maybe I just hadn't, actually received it before. So I was wondering if there's more around that you could expand on, because I ask to receive from the earth here a lot, but it often has this weird, I'm like, am I doing it from my head? Am I like something? Because it doesn't actually have that ooey gooiness of
Okay. Okay. That's awesome. All the definitions of what receiving from the land feels like, looks like, tastes like, smells like, the ooey gooey thing that you think it might be, when it actually could be something totally different that doesn't feel like anything. Will you destroy and uncreate at all times a godzillion? And it can be that too. Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds.
Yes.
You also live in Los Angeles, where how many entities, how many people, entities and bodies, and how many projections, the whole history, past, present, and future of Los Angeles. Are you aware of any or all of that all
Yes.
at the same time? So all the personalities you're all using to try to figure out what the heck to do to handle all of that stuff and control and survive. Will you destroy and uncreate all of that times a godzillion?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyond. Holy shit balls. That's awesome. And now,
that's so cool.
yeah.
Go for it.
So what I was talking about earlier, like the POVADs, when you decide you love a place or hate a place, or it's mixed, your projections and expectations of a place. How many lifetimes have you had in Los Angeles? How many lifetimes have you had in Russia? How many lifetimes have you had in Cambodia, India, like wherever? Like, you've had all of these different lifetimes in different places, and every lifetime, you know, when you die, your body dies. You never actually, the being, die. You re-embody, and everything that brought up, destroy and uncreate it, right, wrong, good, bad, pod, all names, shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. You're born again, you know, but you kind of forget everything. But your being and your body does not. So you start piling on all of these decisions, conclusions, all the decisions you've made about Los Angeles, all of the POVADs, everywhere you decided you loved it, you hated it. Will you destroy and uncreate all of those times a godzillion?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. And if you find yourself like loving somewhere or hating somewhere, or you went there and you loved it, and then you went back and you're like, actually, this sucks, just pock and pod everything that is, all the personalities and all the POVADs, and see what else shows up.
And then also, like, in addition to all of that, which is gold, and at first I would like to just kind of acknowledge what all of that clearing that Alison was just doing, like how that began to shift the energy. Because really the thing is that we are increasing our energetic fluency. And so as you're increasing that, I kind of like to suggest every once in a while that you just like take an energetic snapshot without making anything significant. You just go, oh, what's the energy like right now? Quick. Okay, it's like that. And then in 2 seconds, do that again. And do you notice anything that has changed? Because as you are acknowledging changes, that can be really helpful. If you're like, everything's horrible, and then you pock and pod some stuff and it shifts, do you still say everything is horrible, or do you go, oh, okay, it's different? And when you allow yourself to really, recognize that there are changes that are going on, first of all, I find that incredibly empowering, that you're like, oh, I asked for something different and something began to move. And like, how cool is that? And so allowing yourself to realize, oh, some energies are shifting and changing is an acknowledgement of you and your awareness, and is going to be the GPS that really is fast enough to help you choose where you're going. You don't have to like confirm everything with somebody outside of you and like, did you notice a change? Okay. But you, like, the more you build up your own acknowledgement of your awareness, the more you start to have a sense of like being able to trust what you're aware of that you might not be able to put into words, and you might never be able to explain to somebody and get their validation. But the more, and this is like huge with talking to entities, because, maybe nobody else will perceive whatever it is that you're aware of in the way that you are. And you can't always be like, well, look at that person, because there might not be a body to look at, but so as you allow yourself to really build your trust in your own energetic awareness, this is something that can really guide you, and it's you guiding you. And what you were saying about the, being aware of what's going on in Los Angeles, it's like, yeah, if you've decided that engaging with the land, receiving from the land is supposed to be a certain way, if the land is actually saying something that's different, you might be like, no, I'm sorry, that's not the land. But it may be. And if you just allow yourself to be like, oh, okay, land, what are you saying? Wow, that's what you're saying. And you don't have to freak out about it. It's like, So I have this, I find it hilarious how many people on the planet are at war with bugs. They're like, it's like a bug holocaust, but like the bugs are actually a contribution to the world. They're not just here on accident like some horrible villain. And so when there's like some sort of insect in your garden, you can actually go and be present with it and be like, hey, what are you doing? What is this? What is this energy? And that energy may feel very different than you're expecting. If you have a bunch of plants and all of a sudden one day you go out and they're covered in all of this weird webbing, and the plants look a little shriveled, you could freak out. You could be like, oh no, what's wrong? Or like, Los Angeles, what's wrong with you? You don't feel the way I've decided you should feel. But if you instead allow yourself to go be present with it and say like, hey, what are you doing? What is this? You may discover, oh, these plants are asking for some different nutrients, or oh, these bugs, this is like a seasonal thing, and these bugs are going to be the crop for some different insects or for some animals or for whatever. You start to kind of, as you engage with the energies that are there and don't judge them as right or wrong, then you begin to be able to be a part of their conversation rather than trying to decide what their conversation should be. So that's a kind of gardener's perspective, but also like just in looking at Los Angeles, and there may be a lot of impelled and impacted points of view in the land, and that may be part of what you're perceiving in the ways that you're perceiving it. And so that is like, it's not that you're unaware, it's that you're aware of that energy. And so then if you don't have to freak out and go, oh no, the sky is falling, drama porn, and you can just be like, oh, cool, interesting, wow, what else is possible? What is this? Hey, land, what are you being for all of us? And thank you. And what else is possible for us to be with you? And what are all of the energies there? Are there any entities here that don't even want to be here? And then you do some clearings, like what? And then you get to play with all of the tools that you have to create change, not because you need to, not because you know the right thing and you're in charge, but because you're included and your voice gets to be a part of the song, and a lot of people, their voices are really loud and they are shouting, and you don't have to get hypnotized by their shouting, but you can acknowledge what they're shouting and just ask, okay, so what would I like to say here in this conversation with everything?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Exactly. That's so cool. And I'm so glad you brought up this Los Angeles thing, because it's just so fun. Like, I'm just a little girl in Los Angeles that can't do nothing. It's like, wow. With listening to Monica's conversation and your question, I'm like, holy crap, what can you be and do? And with the whole engaging thing, and all of you can do this everywhere, in any city, not in a city, in a super healthy forest. You're only gonna, if you ask for things to get greater, they will. Or at least you're gonna contribute to, you being the one raising the vibration, if you will. So like, even if you're just a little old helpless person, what if you weren't? What if you were more like a super being? And the more personalities you pock and pod get rid of, engaging is all about, you not having judgment of someone else or something else, but also you allowing that person, place, thing, everything into your reality. and we have put up a lot of barriers to make sure that we're safe in order to keep things out so that we can judge it correctly in order to let it in. So like if the land only feels like this ooey gooey, then I can let my barriers down to let it in. But by doing that, you're not allowing yourself to infuse your super being throughout everything, everyone, the land. You're not allowing yourself to just ooze, you be the ooey gooey, oozy, whatever, into the land there. That is going to start to connect, commune all energies, molecules, the land, the separation of what is land, what is not land. You're going to become this big, super ooey gooey being that contributes to it all. Lower your barrier. Yeah, expand out and allow your energy to flow and be that for the city, for the earth, contribute to the earth. So many people have been taking from the earth without that contribution. Like, what can I receive? But what if it's now time to be that contribution for the land? And in doing so, like if you're truly contributing, you can't not receive. You can't not receive. However many knots you need to say you're going to receive too, you're going to receive simultaneously.
Oh, I love that so much. And with this, kind of the image of the super being, like we talk about infinite being and being in general, like what is that? Oh my God, you could try and go into all of these definitions, but really this the whole personalities conversation is just so interesting. It's like if you've defined yourself as a person with this particular personality, how I'm kind of seeing that these days is that like you shrink down to the size of your life or the size of your personality, and it just shifts the perspective that you can have. And I was talking to Alison a little bit earlier about like, I've never, at least at this point, I have not yet had an experience where somebody making something personal or taking something personally has been like, oh, that was really great. I'm so glad I took that personally. It's more like a way that people can kind of limit the flow of energy to almost like to give it an address, to make it this kind of defined concrete thing. Oh, this was about me. And so with the storm that was just moving through Houston and, it had a huge path, but so with Hurricane Beryl, a few days before it was supposed to reach Houston, I just was reaching out to it. And for me, what that looks like is just relaxing, like lying down and just saying, hello, hi, storm. And then kind of asking for my awareness to be present with the storm. And the moment that I did that, it was like I could hear all sorts of people being like, oh no, ah. And there was just this sense of like, I could make those like dramatic, intense points of view real and true, and I could determine where do I fit within this. Am I on the side of like we're all gonna die like the news is saying, or what, like how do I fit my personality into that? And instead it was just like, okay, I can just hear all of this shouting and I can just kind of acknowledge it, relax, allow it to like move away and almost like tune into a different radio station, because I'm not needing to listen to like People FM or whatever, and I'm wanting to talk to the storm. And as I talk to the storm, then I just had this sense of like, hey storm, what are you? What are you being on the earth? Like what an amazing thing. And then even even with that, there were some more layers of like all of the people who are like, well, this is global warming, and their political points of view about that. And it's like, okay, cool. So I hear that, and then I allow that to relax, and then I go, okay, Storm, what are you? What is this? What is possible? Wow, what a magnificent force. What can I be with the storm? And then I just started to ask. It's like being a surfer or something. Like, if I can not separate from the storm and pretend that I'm going to die, because, you know, as a being, I don't die. So if I could not, you know, go into that panic and upset and go like, what about me? You know, and make it all personal, but I could just say, okay, so like from the space of a storm, what is possible? And I just to like infuse this sense of like, what if this storm could move through the planet and open up possibilities? Do I know how? Not necessarily, but I'm going to ask for that. And then I also was like, hey, Storm, this is where my house is, and this is where my body is. And if you don't mind, please, no trees crushing my body. And like, you know, and also just like relaxing. And the way the storm moved through, at least at my house, was actually incredibly gentle. And I had a tree that that laid down, and it like was going for my greenhouse, or it was about to go toward the balcony, and I just basically asked it not to, and it just laid down really gently in between everything. And I actually was able to stand it back up yesterday. But it's just like, if I had gone into the like personality, oh no, it's me against the world, then that just doesn't allow for the possibilities of creating with. You know, you've created a separation, and so then that has a whole different dynamic than when you can like expand out to be as large as a storm, to be as like energetically fluent as Los Angeles or Dubai or wherever it is that you think wherever it is that you're calling home. You know, like if all of you right now were just to relax and reach out into the earth and just say hello, and allow the earth to greet you, and allow the earth to acknowledge you, and to be the nurturing that it is being, to like allow that to be included in your life, you know, and then acknowledging all of the different entities and all of the spirits of the earth that are a part of nurturing the earth. Allow that, all of that, to be a part of your awareness, even if you can't define it, even if you don't understand it. Just recognizing there are other energies here that I have not been talking to. What if I was to begin to open up the conversation and just say hello? That may be a huge part of getting things flowing. And then as you go along, you get to play with how to engage with that. And it may change from day to day.
That's amazing. Yes. Every day, even if it doesn't feel like anything or it's not working, you just keep saying hello, like Monica said, just keep practicing expanding out, and see what shows up. We have like 0 minutes left, but Enrico, did you have a quick question, or what's your question?
Hello, I have a question about when you do creation, how can I increase the energy the earth in the creation to have more impact to the earth and rebalancing the energy the earth?
When you do
Cool.
creation?
Yeah.
See, events or class.
Yeah.
I would say, what if it's a co-creation? What are you asking for? What would you like the future of the earth to be like in 500 years, 10,000 years? And what's the earth asking for too? I don't know if that helps at all. Monica, do you have a quick thing to say about that?
Yeah. I mean, I would say the first part is really like acknowledging where the earth is contributing, and just kind of like allowing yourself to say hello. And as you're creating the class, the event, or whatever, you just like relax, and you have a sense of your presence being a part of the conversation with the earth, and just keep on acknowledging where the earth is contributing. That, I would say, is kind of the first step, because if you're not acknowledging where the earth is contributing, and then you're like, how do I get more? It's kind of like, well, first acknowledge what is there, and then acknowledge what is there even more and even more and even more. And it may change you just to actually acknowledge how much the earth and the entire universe is already contributing to your creations. And then from that, allowing all of your requests to include, just like Alison was saying, what is possible for the future? What is possible beyond anything that I've ever imagined, that can include the requests of the earth and what would contribute to all beings, all of the little crickets on the planet too.
Yeah. And for you, like literally what's fun for you, you get to be included too. The earth wants you to include you. All of the, the universe wants you to include you. It's called oneness. Yay! That includes you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So that's about it for this call today. Thank you guys so much for being on. We do have, whether you want more, a little bit more, a lot more, a bunch more, we have a introduction class coming up live or online, beginning class coming up live or online, and intermediate class coming up live or online in Dubai next, starting the 2nd
of August. Yeah.
August 2nd. Wow, I remember the date. So please, you're more than welcome. You are invited, and let's change the planet. And please keep us posted. Like, what did this call, if anything, change for you, open up for you, and what else is possible now?
And also, just one other thing is, I also have a Spirits of the Earth call coming up on July 19th, just to make a little plug for where this conversation can continue to unfold.
Cool. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.